Hello beautiful people and welcome to another video, my first of 2021. Today's video is going to be a favourites video. It's not my 2020 favourites, it is my October, November, December 2020 favourites. I've been wanting to shoot a favourites video for each of these months for ages, and at the end of last year when we went into lockdown 3.0 I just had no motivation. I didn't want to do it, but now I'm feeling sort of much better. The task doesn't seem quite so daunting, so I'm going to lump them all together to make it easy for myself. So that's what I'm doing today. That's pretty much it. Let's get into it. So the way this video is going to work is that I'm going to group all of my beauty favourites together. I've sort of got one or two from each month, and then I will do my entertainment Netflix book podcast recommendations after. The first thing I want to talk to you about is this, the Skin Regimen Tripeptide Day Cream. Skin Regimen is a sister brand to the Italian brand Comfort Zone, which I don't think is very well known in the UK in terms of like general beauty, but in professional beauty settings they're very well known and very well used. The whole ethos of Skin Regimen is it's designed for urban dwellers, so people whose aging is mostly caused by things like pollution and blue screen exposure. It's basically billed as like an antidote for modern life. And I actually went to the launch a couple of years ago and was gifted a load of goodies, including this, and it sort of went to the back of my beauty drawer and stayed there ever since, because I was very lucky in my last job where I got gifted quite a lot of beauty products, and also I am a fan of beauty products, so I buy a lot, so my beauty drawers are fairly busy. Anyway, I pulled this out sort of September, October time, and basically used it every day. There is literally nothing left, and I loved it. It's a really nice day cream. It does have a funny smell, I'll say that. It's kind of like quite subtle and almost has a floral smell, but there is definitely a strong smell of almost like tobacco. It's not noticeable on the skin, but it's quite strange. But yeah, it was just really lovely. It kept me really moisturised, made my skin look really healthy and really nice, and I really liked it. I'm not 100% sure what the tripeptides are. This was sort of my main moisturiser for a while and I was a big fan. I don't know if I would repurchase it. I wasn't aware, because obviously I was quite lucky in that I was gifted this, that this brand is really expensive, particularly this range, so I don't know if I could spend that much money on this cream again, but I did really like it. My next favourite from sort of October, November time is the MAC Instacurl Lash Mascara, which is this very beautiful and also quite threatening looking mascara. Basically, again, this is something I'd had for a while. I pretty much stopped wearing makeup last year, but I did go through a brief phase in the autumn where I was like, I'm going to start wearing makeup again, and this was the mascara that I reached for. It has a really lovely plastic brush that gives you really curly, really volumized lashes, which is what I really like and tend to go for. I'm not actually wearing this today though. I am wearing the Glossier Lash Slick, which I also really like, but this has this really cool wand. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but you can move it. Can you see? It's cool. Yeah, really liked it. It stayed really well. The formula is long lasting, it doesn't flake, it doesn't crumble, it doesn't sort of gather in any way it's supposed to, not really much for smearing either, and it clings to the lashes really well and gives you sort of really volumized lashes, which I liked a lot. And my final favourite from sort of October is the Wild Natural Deodorant. Now this is probably a bit sort of out of left field for me, because I don't tend to talk about deodorant and stuff like that on my channel. I bought this and subscribed to this because it's essentially a waste-free sustainable deodorant. So it's a cream deodorant and you get these cartridges that are filled with deodorant. I've got the orange smell, which is really nice, and this part comes off. I'm not going to do it though, and you refill it, and it's basically just a more sustainable way of using deodorant, and I thought that was such a good idea. It also works really well. It's like a really good functional deodorant. It does good for the planet, and I also quite like the packaging. It's pretty cool. So my next two favourites I'm going to kind of talk about together in that they are rediscoveries. So the first one is the Liz Earle Cleanse and Polish. I'm a huge fan of this. This is one of those like old school blogger classics where I remember hearing about this in like a Viviana Does Makeup video, which shows you how long ago this was because she's the Anna edit now. I forgot how much I liked it. Again, it was a similar thing with the tripeptide cream in that I had a spare in my beauty drawers, hadn't used it, and started using it again, and it's just really nice. It smells beautiful, the formula's lovely, it gets off everything I need to, and just the act of putting this on to cleanse your skin, leaving it for a moment underneath a hot muslin, and it comes with a good quality muslin anyway, is very luxurious and kind of like a nice moment of peace after a busy day. Just a really, really big fan of this. I also love the smell. This is like the original one with the eucalyptus and chamomile smell, and I just think it's so gorgeous, and the texture's lovely. It just feels like a really nice luxurious moment at the end of the day. I mean, I love washing my face at the end of the day anyway. I love using cleansing balms and cream cleansers, tend to double cleanse, and this is my favorite. I'm currently at the moment using the No. 7 Revitalize cream cleanser, and it just doesn't compare. I'm using it to use it up. This is just a completely different and much nicer experience. And then my second sort of rediscovery is the John Frieda Frizzies serum. Now, I have used this for about 1,000 years, but recently I've kind of got into the habit of using other serums. I'd say this whole year, or last year anyway, because I obviously wasn't going out. I couldn't go shopping and buy like my usual things, so I was just sort of making do with what I had. And like I said, I'm a bit of a beauty hoarder, so I had loads of like serums and stuff. And then I did a Boots order and picked one up, and I just forgot how good it is, especially when I have my hair curly, which is most of the time. It's just so much better. It nourishes my hair, it gives me a better defined curl, there are less flyaways, my hair looks in better condition. It's just the best curly hair serum. Like, there are no other competitors. It is the best definitive one, and I'm really glad I'm using it again. It's also very affordable. I think it's like £6, if that. It might, or maybe a tiny bit more, but certainly under a tenner. And I know that the Frizzies range anyway, which overall I don't highly rate, apart from this, tends to be like 3 for £2 or 2 for £6 or whatever. It's just a very good serum for curly hair. So big fan of that. I have a nail favourite, which I think is super rare, but having gone back and looked at some of my videos, I don't know if it's as rare as I think it is. But this is the colour Udon No Mi by Essie. It's this beautiful sort of dusky sky blue, and it's completely up my street. I have been wearing it loads. It's actually weird that I don't have it on, because it's kind of been a case of wearing it till it chips, repaint it, so on and so forth, forever. It's a really lovely colour. I've said this before about Essie, I don't rate their formulas. I think it's one of those ones where you really have to take a lot of care and a lot of time with your nails to get the payoff that you want, whereas this one is 2 coats to a perfect sort of opaque plump finish, and I really like that. It's the best Essie formula I have come across. Okay, so I know I said that the Wild deodorant was a bit out of left field. This is really out of left field. It's also something I would not normally feel comfortable with talking about, because it's a supplement. So these are the Star Power Hair, Skin, Nails Vitamin Gummies. Now, I wouldn't normally recommend these, because I tend to be of the belief that unless you have a deficiency in something, supplements are probably a bit of a con. However, I have had real issues with my hair in the last couple of months. I'd say 6 months. Basically, I stopped straightening my hair as much. I also stopped dyeing it as much, leaving much bigger spaces of time between doing my roots. I was really trying to sort of bring my hair back from the brink. My sister is a hairdresser, and she did my hair in October, which is like, your hair's really thin. I have quite fine hair, but I have a lot of it, so it doesn't ever normally look thin, especially because it's curly. I didn't know if there was actually something wrong with me because of how bad my hair looked. I will see if I can sort of insert a picture here, but there is a picture of me on Instagram where my fringe is so wispy and so gappy because I looked like I was losing my hair. So I'd seen about Star Power a couple of times, kind of wrote it off, and then I thought, well, at this point I am desperate, so I will try them. And this is my 3rd bottle. I've already done it for 2 months. This is my 3rd bottle, and oh my god, the difference in my hair is insane. Like, this is the best my hair has looked in some time. It is thicker, it is longer, it is so much softer. Like, my hair tends to be quite wiry and dry, and it's almost like a miracle. Like, I don't have a gappy fringe. It's made all the difference to my hair. So now on to my newer, or at least new to me, discoveries from sort of the end of 2020. The first is the Neal's Yard Organic Hand Defense Spray. I have OCD. This comes up quite a lot, but if you are new to my channel or you've never read my blog before, you won't necessarily know that, but I have been struggling since I was about 19. I was diagnosed when I was about 23, and my compulsion is hand washing. when I can't wash my hands, I use hand sanitizer. So carrying a bottle of hand sanitizer around with me and washing my hands frequently was my common practice long before COVID was even a thing. So when the hand sanitizer shortage happened, I really struggled because that's how I cope generally. So I bought this purely because I got an Insta ad when this restocked. So I was like, I saw it and I snapped it up. I bought this and a refillable bottle, and that's one of the things I like about it, is that you can buy the refillable bottle, which is obviously more environmentally friendly and more sustainable, and it also means you're only using this plastic bottle once, whereas the refillable bottle is glass, so is more easily recycled. Anyway, this is just really, really lovely. It's formulated with 70% alcohol, which means it is a legit hand sanitizer. It kills 99% of bacteria. It also smells beautiful. It's got essential oils, it's got rosemary, it's got witch hazel. Has it got rosemary? And it does what it says. It keeps your hands clean and fresh. Big fan. Who knew someone could talk so much about hand sanitizer? This gal can. So another thing that I absolutely loved from sort of the end of last year are the Elemis Cellular Recovery Skin Bliss capsules. So I actually saved 2 of the capsules so I could show you what they look like. But basically they are these serum capsules. You've got one for the day, which is this pink one, which is a rose serum, and then you have evening, which is lavender. And I absolutely loved these. It's kind of the perfect amount of serum you would need, and they're just really, really nice serums. They smell really lovely and they just make your skin feel so good and so nourished, and I definitely noticed that my skin looked better after using them. My only downside is that they didn't come with loads, so but bear in mind you have to use 2 every day. I think I used them within 2 weeks, maybe less, and also the fact that they come in those capsules is not good. For one thing, this pot is very thick and clunky plastic anyway, so it's harder to recycle, but also these pods are not recyclable, so they're just rubbish. And that was the thing that made me pause before buying it again. This was gifted, by the way, a long time ago, so I don't know if this is what the current situation is for this product, but yeah, I don't like that these aren't biodegradable, or that you can't just buy these serums in a glass bottle. Because they are lovely serums, I would happily use them in the way I was using these, but I just feel like this is not good enough, really. Like, that's just unnecessary rubbish, isn't it? And the planet's dying. But yeah, having said that, overall Elemis is a very good brand, one I love a lot, as you will tell from previous videos, and I am a massive fan of them. I just think this product definitely needs some development at this point. I don't think it stands up to standards that we need now, as opposed to when this launched in like 2017, 2016. Okay, so that is all my beauty favourites done. Part of me is tempted to leave the video there and do my non-beauty favourites in another video, but I'm kind of carry on. In November, I really loved, sorry, I've got a list on my phone. I watched and adored the Jane Fonda in 5 Acts documentary on Amazon. Oh my god, I love Jane Fonda anyway. But I watched this documentary and there was so much I didn't know about her, and it was absolutely fascinating. There was about her sort of early childhood and how it felt growing up as Henry Fonda's daughter, and her first marriage to, I think it was Roger Nadal. I know her daughter is Vanessa Nadal. It's her first marriage, how she became an activist, and she said she left her first husband, who she was very much in love with, not for another man but for a cause, and it was just how that activism has shaped her life and the different causes she supports, and it was just brilliant. She is a sensational actress, and the things she does, she truly cares, and she's got such a negative reputation. Like in the 70s she was known as Hanoi Jane because she strongly opposed the Vietnam War. And I just think she's incredible. She is one of those people that so puts her money and her time and her effort where her mouth is. It's not lip service. She really cares. And she's so talented, and she's just this incredible woman. And she addresses things like, she talks about her plastic surgery, and she says she has had it, and so she said she kind of regretted it, but she kind of doesn't at the same time. And it was just such a good documentary. I adored it. I also really loved the second series of Dr. Death. So I've talked about this podcast before. I am a massive true crime podcast fan, and I understand that being fascinated by true crime is problematic as fuck. But what I think that Wondery do, because obviously it's a Wondery podcast, all the best ones are, is that they focus more on the victims and the impact these crimes have had on the victims rather than glamorizing the crime. But in the case of Dr. Death 2, it is about I think his name is Dr. Farouk Fada, but basically it is about this oncologist who is falsely diagnosing patients with cancer and giving them chemotherapy to claim the insurance money for it. So these people are fine. They don't have cancer, and chemotherapy is rough anyway, but when you don't have cancer, it's essentially poisoning someone, and people died as a result of this, and it's just this horrible insurance scam, and it's awful, but it's so fascinating. I did find parts of it really hard to listen to, especially when it was people who had lost people or people it had happened to. It was really absorbing and very well told, I think. Another podcast I have adored has been An Hour or So with Sue Perkins, and I love Sue Perkins. I love her voice. I find it so soothing. She's just such a very clever, very funny woman, and I am a big fan. I found this podcast by accident. It was recommended to me on Apple Podcasts, and I just adore it. It's basically Sue Perkins interviewing fascinating people, and it's just so brilliant and so soothing. It's kind of the perfect one to listen to while walking the dog. I just loved it. So far I've listened to her interview with Florence Pugh, who I'm a big fan of, and I liked that. She was talking about her relationship with Zach Braff, and she said some stuff that I just thought was so brilliant. She was talking about how she'd been working since she was 18, she had been paying taxes since then, she'd been doing all of these things that signified her as an adult, and yet she was being told that she was too young to choose her partner. And it was so brilliant and so well worded, because she's an adult, she can be with whoever she wants, and if she can have all the trappings and traits of adulthood, like paying tax, then she can choose her partner, and no one can dictate to her who she can be with. It was brilliant. Also adored Emma Thompson's interview with Sue Perkins. They were talking about Marcus Rashford and how wonderful he is, and just how important these causes are, but it's not in any way sanctimonious. It's just fascinating. I think my favourite genre of podcast outside of like true crime is just listening to two very clever, very brilliant women just having a chat. So my next favourite is Ghosts by Dolly Alderton. Now, I'm a big fan of Dolly Alderton, have been for a while. I was devastated when the High-Low ended, although I'm glad that they're off doing like their own things now, and that Pandora Sykes has got a new podcast called The Missing, which sounds well up my street. But yeah, I started this when it came out. I think I read it in October, and I didn't read very much at all last year. I think I read something like 22 books in the end. I was quite disappointed with my output of reading last year, but Ghost came out in sort of September, October time. I loved it. It took me a really long time to get into it. I think I spent a week reading the first 100 pages, and I read it really slowly, but once I got into it, I finished it in a day. I really liked it. It's a really good sort of relevant story, but also at the same time it reminded me of like a nicer time when, you know, you could go out and be around other people and dating was still a thing. Essentially, Ghost is about Nina, who breaks up with her long-term partner and starts to date again, and she goes on to what is obviously Tinder, but in the book is called Links, and meets this guy, and they start a relationship, and he's really like full on. Like, he tells her on their first date he's going to marry her, and then he tells her he loves her, and then he disappears completely for months, and spoiler alert, he then comes back in and literally does the same thing to her again, and I just absolutely hated that character. He was such a dick. It's really good, really enjoyed it. Okay, so I'm on to my last favourite now, and this is an album. It is Plastic Hearts by Miley Cyrus. I love that album. I downloaded it on the day it came out, and I have just been listening to it at least once a day since. I absolutely adore it. I think it's such a brilliant piece of work. I think it really shows the world like what Miley Cyrus can do. I've kind of always been a big fan of Miley, even in her like bangers phase where she kind of annoyed me a little bit, but I still loved her. So I think she's brilliant. I think it's such a great rock album, and it is undoubtedly a rock album. It's fantastic. Highlights for me are High, which is just the most beautiful, bittersweet, like lost love song. It's just beautiful. It's one that I would want to sing myself. It's gorgeous. Angels Like You, very similar, absolutely adore it. I think that was my first favourite song off the album. It was certainly the one I kept going back to listen to and re-listen to, and I tend to with songs anyway. Albums to the same extent, but not as much. I will listen to a song if I like it until I am sick of it. I will put it on repeat and just listen and listen and listen to it. And Angels Like You is one of those. I also love Night Crawling with Billy Idol. I love the mashup of Midnight Sky, or Edge of Midnight it's called, but it's the mashup of Midnight Sky and Edge of 17 by Stevie Nicks, and it is gorgeous. And what else? I love her covers. I think she does incredible rock covers. Her cover of Zombie of the Whiskey A Go Go is just beautiful. And actually, I remember when that went live on YouTube and I listened to that so much, and I was just thinking her voice is a perfect rock voice. It's incredible. Heart of Glass by Blondie, that cover is amazing as well. I know she worked with Joan Jett on this album and it's amazing. It's just such a good album. It's such a great rock album. So those are my October, November, December 2020 favourites. It's been a while. It's been quite hard getting back into the habit of filming, but once I did, I feel better about it. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Also ring the post notifications bell, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.